Well, hello everyone, and I'm working on the 3D model for the suspension on the M3 Lee. I am using Blender 3D and 2D. You can do either or, but what I did is I made a surface plane on Blender and put a background image of the actual model, the front suspension part of the model. All these grids right here, I changed everything to equal 1 millimeter. I got my calipers out and I measured the parts on the actual model itself and scaled the photograph to match the grid. And also you can see different measurements everywhere, and there's a measurement tool you can use over here that you can check your measurements. So hopefully it'll end up pretty accurate. I've seen other people on YouTube use this software to create 3D models for their printers, and so I thought I'd do that here. Right now I don't have any items selected. This here will show all my different parts. It's kind of a what would you call that? A legend or a guide showing everything on the scene here, if you're not familiar with Blender. But it doesn't look like much right here. I will zoom into it and I will kind of rotate around, and it depends on the light you have in your scene. You can see the photograph down there, and I'm actually using the photograph as a kind of a template, and actually taking measurements off the model itself so that I get accurate dimensions for it. But yeah, it's coming along. I got the front part of the suspension, and maybe you can see a little bit better there. I got the front plate, it's got the ribs on it, and I got the part of the suspension or the actual mounting part for this part of the suspension done here. Let's see if I can, and I'll end up smoothing it out. It's when you do shapes, round shapes, it kind of makes flat faces go kind of wrap around. But there's smoothing tools you can use to get rid of all these lines here. And then I'll have to do some edge beveling and everything like that, but it's kind of the initial phase of it. It's a little better view there, and I'll just kind of orbit around it. See it a little bit. And it's pretty much flat on the bottom. That's where these suspension pieces will go, but these should be, according to this measurement tool and everything, and the grid lines, should be pretty accurate measurements to the actual part on the model itself. It also has a wireframe mode, which allows you to see all the parts, and a little better than that, than the solid model. The only bad part is when you switch it to wireframe mode, you lose your background photo, but that's no big deal. It lets you pick all your individual points easier, and shows how everything goes together with the different parts that create this whole suspension part here. And I can't go any higher than this because I'll end up shutting off my recording, but you can click on, let's say I want to work on the frame rib number 2, and it'll highlight all the vertices, they call them, the points of movement for the part, and I can work on that rib if I want, or if I want to work on the first rib, which is the vertical inner rib of this, or the main structure itself, and I can't click on that or else I'll shut the recording off, but it'll highlight the main part of that. It's a fun little 3D software, and it doesn't cost nothing. I've used Blender for years. I had to delete the old version and download the new one because I forgot how to run it, because I hadn't run it for years, and all the videos on YouTube were this new version. So I was like, well, Might as well upgrade. And then the suspension mount. This is the inner part where the bushings and the everything would be to mount that suspension piece that comes off here to the roller wheels. But just wanted to show some progress on that. I will unselect all of this stuff here. And that's the way it is. It's coming along a lot better than I thought it would. And you can do tops and side views and rotate it with your mouse, and it's kind of a really neat, fun little it's fun to just mess around with this and create 3D models of stuff. So, but just want to show you that I am working on that suspension piece to 3D print for the M3 Lee, and I'd like to thank everybody for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.